So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all sure it's all sparkly, spanky clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The glory hole's like a dick theater. I've imagined your friend.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime. I do this.
We're not sluts.
We just love love.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mrs. Adam.
And this is an exhausted Mr. Adam.
Yeah, because he's had to deal with me all day.
All weekend.
I know. It's a tough life.
It is. It is.
Yeah, but you signed up for it.
I know. People think it's easy. It's not. It's not.
That's all right. So we have a 2-part episode tonight.
Which may turn into a 7-part episode.
Well, the first part is we're going to kind of review a meet and greet we went to recently.
Yep.
And then we have a number of questions that we've gotten via email or Twitter, whatever media. And so we want to kind of go through some of those because they've been piling up a little bit. So,
Yes, we've been neglecting you people.
I know.
We're sorry.
yeah.
Your questions are important to us. And yet, we just keep putting them off.
Well, we've only been doing one a week. And so then, yeah, they sometimes add up. So keep sending them in. And if we get too many, well, we'll just have to sit and answer questions one night. You know?
Laws.
I know.
I actually like sitting and answering questions. But
Yeah.
whatever.
It is. It's fun.
We should offer a opportunity to like just randomly be like our moderator and just ask us questions.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So
do that.
if you'd like to do that, just let us know. All right, so let's talk about first this recent meet and mingle that we went to.
So it was hosted by the same folks that hosted a meet and greet we went to a few months ago.
Yes, it was a podcast we called, which I'm still very proud of this, 12 Couples Walk Into a Bar.
Yeah. Yeah, so the meet and greet was hosted by the same couple, but it was... Some of the couples were the same, but I know that one couple in particular was the same, but they were at the other end of the table, so we never interacted with them.
Right. It was actually not hosted by the same couple.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, it was hosted by a different couple, but
okay.
who were there at that first meet and mingle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Key point to distinguish, it was a different couple that was hosting it, but
Right.
they were there.
Okay.
And they were the tie from the first time to the couples club.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's
I was confused on all that then.
easy to understand the confusion, but yeah, it was definitely a different couple.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, it was at a different bar.
Yeah.
First off, props to the bar. It was an amazing bar. The bar staff were great. Mm-hmm. There was live music, which is awesome, but
It was a little loud.
I'm getting too old for this live music at a bar shit thing.
It was so...
I love it, but...
It's great, but it was too loud to have a conversation. You literally had to be in someone's ear shouting.
Yeah.
And that's not exactly conducive to a meet and greet situation.
No. But the bar space and the space that they had reserved for us was awesome.
It was perfect,
I
yeah.
absolutely loved it. If the bar had been 20% quieter, it'd have been amazing. Had it been 40% quieter, it'd have been perfect.
Yeah.
But it was just, God, it was so fucking loud. I mean, when your live music is so loud that you're getting feedback on your own microphone, perhaps you should turn it down a bit. I don't know. Maybe I don't understand how live music goes, but apparently if you sing it louder, it must be better.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't like
Then we should shout into these microphones.
I mean, it's like it absolutely kills me because it's that whole I hate the live music mentality of if it's. And it's funny because you get two different. If you're in a bar setting, the louder the singer is, the better it is. But for some reason in musical theater, the softer the singer, the better it is. Because oftentimes the orchestra is way too loud and the mics on the singers are way too soft. But that's a completely different problem. Anyway, but I digress. So the bar setup was great. And I think the space was great for a meet and mingle. In fact, I think it was actually better than the last meet and mingle we went to.
I agree.
Because and maybe it was just the way it was set up, because this meet and mingle, they did some very clever things to get us to A, meet, and B, mingle. But
Well,
I'm jumping ahead a bit.
As far as how the bar was set up, though, there were a few tables and a couch space that were reserved for them, kind of a little bit on the periphery, and in between there was enough space where you could stand and move and walk around. So it wasn't like you had to be sitting at one of the tables or on one of the couches.
Yeah.
So it was nice because it gave you that option to sit, but at the same time you didn't have to, and there was room to stand and kind of talk to others and group and whatnot.
So, anybody who's interested, this was this was a pre sort of meet and mingle before the big play party at Couples Club that was posted on adultmatchmaker.com. This was sort of an invite only thing. Mm-hmm. So, but these folks are from, northern New South Wales, just north of Sydney a bit. And so...
And there were people from all over New South Wales.
Yeah.
Both from the Sydney area, from Western Sydney, Northern, Southern.
Well, Wollongong,
kind of all around.
Way out.
Yeah.
The way out
like
west.
Penrith Way.
Yeah, Penrith Way, almost to Katoomba. And then the northern. So many of the folks who were there that we spoke to were, 1.5 to 2 hours away.
Right.
So it was a definite effort to come into this. Mm-hmm. And everybody we talked to, I think, lovely people.
Oh, yeah.
Really interesting
it was a good
people.
group of people.
We passed out a lot of cards with the statement of, hey, let us, send us a message. We'd love to talk to you more and actually be able to talk to you more. And that was nice. So we get to the bar, and immediately, we get downstairs, and it's immediate, it's packed. So I looked at you and I was like, do you remember what these people looked like? And you were like, I don't even remember their names. I'm like, great, we're fucked.
I looked up the names, though, before we walked in.
Yes, and I actually somehow managed to remember their names. Mm-hmm. But when we got to the bar, it was packed.
It was packed. And so basically my mentality was, as we're walking in, right as we walked in, there were groups of people that were more casually dressed. There were some that were clearly there after work drinks and that kind of thing.
Exactly. Because it was a Friday.
Right. It was a Friday evening. And so I basically had the mentality of, okay, we're looking for a group of people who are going to a swingers club afterwards. They're going to be dressed nicely. They're going to be dressed sexy. They're probably going to be... they're not all going to be like the college-aged kids.
Right. They're going to be our age.
They're going to be our age-ish. Yeah. And so that's the group of people I was looking for. And as we and I could tell they weren't in the front section of the bar. So I just kind of kept going through until I saw a group of people that fit that description. And I just walked up and was like, I think this is the group we're looking for.
The fella who is part of the couple that organized it immediately walked up to us and was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And about that time, another couple had come in, I think probably right behind us, and he introduced us to them. And said, "I'm going to take you around and introduce you to everybody." And so. But unfortunately for him, but fortunately for us, we saw another couple that we had seen before.
That we've met with before.
We've met with before.
Yeah, we chatted with, really like them.
We've chatted with, we really like them. We've had them over for dinner, and we got along. But we've never actually played with them, but we've wanted to. But we saw them, and it was like, oh my God. It was like the last people we expected, because we even joked about it before going down the stairs. It was like, we're not going to know anybody here other than the host and hostess. And we get down at the bottom, and we're like, oh my God, it's you guys. And so I don't feel bad about it, but I can understand how he might have been a bit miffed at the fact that he was going to show us around and introduce us to everybody, and we basically were like, oh yeah, bye-bye, and started talking to this couple.
Yeah, because we saw them until we gave them big hugs.
We hadn't seen them physically in a year.
It just started catching up, and
we've texted with them, but we hadn't actually seen them face to face.
8 months.
I would have said a year.
You think a year? Okay.
It was a long time, because we had just moved in here into this current location.
Yeah.
And so it was so good to see them and talk to them, and we chatted with them for 30 minutes almost immediately. So much, in fact, that they were talking to two other couples, and those two other couples, we just sort of pushed them out of the way, which again I feel kind of bad about. But
but after the initial catch up, though, we did then
we're
split
like, okay,
up
we're
and
going to split up.
Yeah,
and we talked to another lovely couple, which I really liked both of them. because the guy was a little bit shorter than me, and I always make jokes about my own height, and like within 10 minutes of talking to him, he was making jokes about his height.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, when you're our height, because she was your
also
size.
short, yeah.
And he goes, when you're our height, you don't have to worry about hitting your head whenever you go into doors. And I'm like, oh my God, I love it. You're so true. So that was great. And then you and I split up for a bit.
Yep.
You talked to some people because you wanted to sit down anyway, and we, it was
really good. 'Cause I would say that I don't think there was anyone there that we talked to that wasn't interesting in some way or another. Everybody was really nice. I would say similar personalities, and I think we all. We could easily get along and have a great time with any of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and I'm going to say this sort of blanketly, but I know it's not entirely true. The swingers that we've met who come from farther out of the city are always easier to get along with. And I don't know if it's just that they're more relaxed and they don't get to do it much, so they're like, oh, look, we're going to talk to you, and you're, we're going to find the good in you. Whereas if if you're in a situation where your sample set is vast and varied, you can be a little more choosy.
Yeah,
whereas
true.
if you don't get to do it as oftentimes you're like, oh, I'm going to find the good in you.
You're going to look for the positive.
Yeah, I'm going to look for the positive. And everybody who was here was out a ways, which makes me think they don't get to swing as often as they'd like. And everybody we talked to was very friendly and like accepting and open and like, oh, immediately we would hit it off with them. And that's really a nice thing. And not that the swinging community is not normally like that, but this group in particular seemed more a bit to that.
Well, that could also be because you're going to a meet and greet with the intention to meet people.
And
to get, you're going there to meet new people and to find someone that you want to get along with and potentially have a relationship or play with. So you have to put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
And you have to be positive.
Well, and not to say that there weren't, I can remember one, if not two couples in particular, where they were clearly, the card they were playing was the sexy woman card. And I remember one couple in particular who she did all the talking and he just stood there and tried not to look awkward. Which, hey, spoiler alert, folks, if you try not to look awkward, you're going to look awkward.
You're going to look awkward.
You can't not look awkward while trying to not look awkward. But it was that was funny. I do remember one couple that was kind of like that. Yeah. I'm like, you're just playing the sexy woman card.
And, if it works, sure.
If it works for you, go for it. But I like to know that there's a personality behind the man folk, too.
Yep.
But so when we first walked in, we were given a number. This is, I think, if you do meet and mingles, if we ever do a meet and mingle, this is something that we're going to do because I thought it was a very cleverly done.
It was a good way to do it, yeah.
Forcing people to mingle. So we were all given a number, and then each couple was given a number, and then halfway through the night we were given envelopes, and with that envelope the host said, you need to find the couple with this number, and then once you find that number you can give them the envelope,
right?
Which I think is a very clever way of getting people to mingle.
Yeah.
Of course, you had a few of those couples that were like, what's your number? 7? Okay, I'm looking for 8. Bye. What's your number? 3? Oh, I'm looking for 8. Bye. What's your number? And I was like, oh, that's a bit much. But, we definitely tried to, I know I tried to, and I think we tried to. It's like, oh, what's your number? Oh, that's a good number, but what we're looking for is blah, 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 blah. Have you found the number you're looking for yet? Kind of thing.
It's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
And so it gets you to wander around and talk to other couples you may not have already. I also like the fact that didn't happen until halfway through the evening.
Yes.
Because it's not like, okay, you start off, find people you want to talk to, and then sequester yourselves at that point. It is very much you've had time to kind of wander around and meet people, but you may not have gotten to everyone yet. So it kind of forces you to keep going. So I did like the timing of it as well. And
it's funny because people, if you've never been to a meet and mingle, it's very easy to either find a couple that you've already met and sort of just latch onto them and then you guys talk. Like the couple that it would have been easy for us to just sit there and talk to them all night.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, the couple that we met later on, it would have been easy just to sit and talk to them for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
It's so easy to once you've made a connection with somebody, just to stick with that person and only communicate with them. If I can give advice to people who go to meet and mingles, it would be to really force yourself to play that social butterfly role and try to talk to a bunch of other couples. And I know that some people out there would think that, oh, well, that makes me look like I'm not interested in you, so I'm moving along. But I don't think for me, it doesn't.
In that scenario, I don't think it does. And another thing you can do, if you're not good at figuring out, how long should I spend with someone, and this requires some thought ahead of time and some pre-planning. But if you're not, sure, how long should I spend talking to someone, or I'm not good at moving on, or, I'm afraid I'm going to get stuck with one couple or person or whatever and not move on. If you have like a watch, set a silent alarm on your watch for, say, every 10 to 15 minutes. And that way when it goes off, it's a reminder that, hey, I should be moving.
Maybe I should move along.
I should be talking to someone else.
And another great thing to do is your drink. Judge by your drink, you know. And even if you don't drink alcohol, and I know that sometimes it can be tough to go to these things and not drink alcohol, a great thing to do is to walk up to the bartender and say, I know I have done this multiple times. You give the bartender a nice hefty tip, maybe a $20 bill, and you say, every time I walk up to you and ask for a gin and tonic, I want you to give me a tonic water with lime. That way it looks like I'm drinking. I'm even asking for a drink, but I'm getting tonic and lime.
Right.
Or soda water and lime, vodka soda. And, so it's...
And that also depends on how busy the bar is.
Yes.
Because in this case, it was busy enough with other people that you could do that without people from this group necessarily knowing that you weren't drinking.
And not saying that you have to drink to be... But sometimes...
The perception.
It's that perception. It's that I want to be included in the group, so I'm drinking so that I'm included. So I would... Definitely, you can judge it based on your drink. Once you start talking to a couple and maybe you've got 3/4 to a full drink, if you need another drink, it's a good excuse to say, hey, I'm going to go to the bar and get another drink. I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. And then you just find another couple.
And then find another couple to talk to,
And what's really great is if you both are drinking at separate rates, that even cuts your time down again. Hey, I'm going to go get another drink. Do you want to come with me?
Right.
And then, your partner says, yes, I'll come with you.
Right.
So that's just
there
something.
are ways to do it, but to kind of keep yourself moving and interacting with other couples. But you may have to make a cognizant effort to do that.
But I think it's good for you, and it's fun to do, and you get to.
And that's kind of the whole point of it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think I say this like very proudly. I think you and I do meet and mingles very well. There's really no one we're not willing to talk to. There's times we don't feel like being social, but at the same time, it's nice to be a social butterfly and sort of bounce around and talk to people, which I understand for some is difficult. But, just talk about if you're, we've talked about this before on this podcast, if you're unsure what to talk about, ask questions. Everybody likes to talk about themselves. Especially
being, more than likely, it's going to be people you've never seen or met before, so you can ask them, not only just like where they're from or basic things like that, but ask, how long have they been in the lifestyle? What got them into it? What are they going to the club later even? Simple questions
like that.
How
long have you been together? Oh, how long have you been in the lifestyle? What made you make that decision to go into the lifestyle?
And if that's too
heavy...
Have
you been to clubs before?
Yeah, and if that's too heavy, then stick with the club and say, are you going to the club? Have you been before? Things like that.
Do you know what to expect? Or, things like that. Because perhaps you know what to expect because you've been to a club and they don't. And you can be their sort of Yoda character and
mentor,
give them some advice on what to expect. Which I know we ran into a couple like that.
Yeah.
They had never been to a club before, and I spoke to him at length about club rules and what's accepted and yada yada yada.
What you should expect,
Really, it was just don't be shy. It's okay to be shy. It's absolutely okay to be shy. But in a meet and mingle situation, push yourself, push your boundaries. So we back to the. I guess little bit of a tangent there.
Got a little sidetracked.
Well, I still think it's important, but so we did the little meet and mingle game where we went around trying to find our number. We finally found our number, and I was all excited because immediately when whoever had our our envelope. Our envelope was wrapped in ribbon, which nobody else's was, so I knew it was special. So I was stoked. I was excited. And we opened up. She goes, I want to know what's in your envelope. And I was like, oh, okay. So we opened it up, and inside our envelope was a $75 gift card to Max Black.
Yeah.
Which I was like, stoked.
So each envelope came from a different place and had different things in them.
So I know that we asked somebody what was in the envelope that we
Yes.
gave out, which was a platinum membership to
Adult
Matchmaker.
Matchmaker.
Which I have to be honest, I would have been just as happy with that as I
Yeah.
would with the.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But yeah, so every envelope had something different in it. I'm assuming everyone. I don't know. At least there were at least a few different things. And I think that's kind of interesting as well.
I think it's as games go, I think it was genius.
Yeah.
Because it solves a lot of different things. It's a thank you for coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's a force you to get out and talk to people, which is exactly what you want. And it's not like a raffle draw,
Right.
Where a raffle draw is between me and the host and hostess. This was between us and everybody, which was nice. So I guess the time flew by.
Yeah,
even though
it
we
went
couldn't
really
understand
quick.
people because it was too bloody loud. But, the time flew by talking to folks.
Mm-hmm.
And the host and hostess went on to Couples Club. And they're like, oh, we'll see you there. And I feel sort of bad because we were like...
Well, they were walking by quickly on their way out.
Yeah.
And, she said, oh, we'll see you there. And I just, at the same time she was saying that, I was just saying, see ya.
Yeah.
And they were gone. And it was like, there wasn't really any time to say any more or anything.
But he did come by and say, look, we're all going to the Couples Club. There's no pressure to go.
Right.
You don't have blah, 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 blah. Under other circumstances, on probably many other nights, we would have gone. But we had double booked ourselves.
So on this particular Friday night, our secret spot had a
Ladies' night.
Ladies' night. So it was the Satin and Pearls Girls' Night In. And I had been really interested in going to that, but it happened to fall on the same night. So we at least wanted to go. We were going to miss the girls only part of it, but we at least wanted to go for the latter part when the guys could go in. And because it's always a good crowd there, and it's a fun time.
Ladies' nights are always fun.
Yeah, and so we wanted to hit that up. So we ended up not going to Couples Club and going on to our secret spot afterwards.
Which is kind of a bummer because there was a number of couples that we were interested in.
Yeah.
And I know we gave out three. I gave out 3 cards. I don't know if you gave out any, but I gave out 3 cards to couples saying, "Hey, message us. We would love to catch up with you again. We find you guys interesting."
I also know a few of the other couples didn't go on either.
Yeah.
They had other things going on in their lives and didn't. So it was one of those. I kind of feel a little bad, but at the same time,
I do feel
we
bad.
really wanted to go to the ladies' night at our secret spot.
Having double
so.
booked ourselves, I felt a little
Yeah.
guilty about that because.
But I think it was still good to go to the meet and mingle, and I'm
It
really
was.
glad
It was
we
great.
did.
And I'm very glad we
Yeah.
did. And we need to send I'll do that tonight or tomorrow morning. A thank you for inviting us.
Yes.
Because it was a good experience. I do wish we could have gone to Couples Club.
Just spent more time with some of those couples.
Yeah, because they were interesting people. And even if we didn't play with them, it'd be nice to play around them.
Yeah, and so whatever the venue, it'd be nice to spend a little more time with them. Yeah.
So but all in all, it was a awesome experience. It was a lot of fun. We came back with a $75 gift card to Max Black. So win-win-win.
Yeah. And then we went on to our secret spot, and one of the couples that I had talked with a little bit, but you hadn't really interacted with a whole lot. They were walking the same way to their car, and so we ended up walking a fair bit with them. And just talking to them, which was really nice to get to know them a bit more.
They were a nice couple.
They were a very nice
She had
couple,
a beautiful
yeah.
dress on. I loved that dress.
Yeah. So it was just nice to be in a little bit quieter environment on the street and be able to actually hear one another. So
Yeah.
But yes, we made it to our secret spot, and this was right after a little bit after the guys had been allowed in.
Yep.
For the ladies' night, and so a lot of people were already dressed down. We did not immediately dress down, but they had that particular night. They had an artist who had come in, and she was doing charcoal drawings of people if they wanted to. And are you
I'm just confirming her name because I want
Leah something?
Yeah. I want everybody to go out there and follow her on Facebook
Yeah,
and
because her
Instagram.
drawings were amazing. Because when we got
Leah
there,
Harris is her name.
and she can be found at
LHD Art.
Okay.
So yes, she's on Twitter for sure. She's on Facebook, of course, and being an artist, she is definitely on Instagram. And I'm just confirming. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah. So when we got there,
Sorry, LHD _art on Instagram. LHDart.com. Her work is stunning.
yeah, it's amazing. And so when we got there, Lawrence immediately was like, "Hey, you should come check out some of the stuff that she's done tonight." So we went to the front room where she was set up and looked through some of the people that she had drawn, and it just was amazing.
Stunning. It was stunning.
Yeah, and if you're on Twitter, you would have seen the picture that Mr. Adam posted of himself that night that he was drawn.
She drew me like one of those French women.
Yes, she did. She did.
It was awesome. It was such a great experience.
And she was really awesome to talk to.
Yeah.
And very intelligent. And,
super smart and like, super accepting. She's a self-proclaimed vanilla, which I absolutely love. Like, it's okay to be vanilla if you're accepting of everybody else.
Yeah, she doesn't care what you do.
She's
what
like,
you
I don't
want
care what the
drawn.
fuck you do.
She goes to kink events and draws people. It's fine. She doesn't care.
She's a resident artist for a couple of the mistresses in Sydney. I mean, she doesn't care what you do, but she herself is vanilla, which
it's fine. Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah. And I just love that. She was, I'm a self-proclaimed vanilla.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, she's a beautiful person, inside and out.
Oh, God, I was splooshing all over the place for her.
Yeah.
Because she's got this lovely sort of 1940s pinup girl vibe, which is just, it's delightfully
beautiful,
hot.
Yeah. So she was there, and so that was great to see some of the stuff that she had done. We saw her in action drawing not just you, but a few other people. And she was so quick at drawing them. I was amazed at how she can
I'm so jealous of that talent. Yeah.
Translate from what's in front of her down onto paper so quickly.
Yeah.
But we had a great time there because there again, the ladies' nights are always fun nights, and because we got there, it had been going for a bit already, and we got there after the guys came in. People were already dressed down. There was already action going on, so it was kind of like already that great positive vibe walking into it. And so it didn't take us too very long to dress down either. But it was a really good night, though.
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Getting drawn. So Lawrence did a few shibari works on me.
Yes, he did.
Which, again, I know he listens to the podcast, so this is a very big thank you to Our Secret Spot and Lawrence, especially, because it's nice to have a situation where a straight man will not care that he's tying a bi guy.
Yeah.
And, I understand.
It doesn't have to be a female.
No, it doesn't have to be. And it's nothing sexual. And that's what's really great about it is, although I enjoy it sexually, it's not a sexual experience.
Right.
And so it was really nice to have that opportunity to be a subject, because I've actually never been tied like that. And it was great. And he was really, always checking on me. Is this okay? And it was really a great experience to have that, to be bound like that. And he did the first one with my arms tied over my head and behind my back. And that was rough, but awesome. And then he did this really great just wrist binding that ended up being gorgeous.
Yeah.
Which is how she drew me. And it was such a great experience, and massive props to OSS for being this a place where you can go and
accepting.
And just feel like you're accepted no matter what you're really into. It was epic. Looking back, it's next to the pendulum parties, that experience was one of my best experiences at the club, and which had nothing to do with sex, which I think is what even sort of adds to that, is that it was just us and our friends, and we played with a little rope, and I got drawn, and that's basically how the night went.
I also thought it was interesting, because sometimes when we're there, the voyeurs room with the St. Andrew's cross gets used, and sometimes it doesn't. But that particular night, there was a pretty good group in there. I know at one point there were 6 people in there, and there was a lady up on the St. Andrew's cross, and there was fair bit of activity in there, which is always fun to watch. And the curtains were open, which is even better.
Yeah.
Because, if you're going to be in there, then...
It's a voyeur's room. Voyeur, damn it.
Yeah, please leave the curtains open. I mean, I understand if you want privacy, but come on, we want to watch.
No, don't be shy.
Yeah.
We all got the same shit.
Yeah, so it was fun to watch people in there as well. So it's always good. Yeah.
It was a good night. It was a lot of fun. We came home and we had not had sex with each other.
No.
The entire night. We came home and I was like, I'm gonna fuck. And I was knocked the fuck out. Of course, we came home starving and because we
hadn't eaten
foolishly
dinner.
did not eat food before we went, and we'd had a lot of alcohol and no food.
Yeah.
Actually, much like right now. And then we ate crackers and apple.
Crackers and peanut butter for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like being a little kid again.
Except for the whole nudity part.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it was good times.
Yeah, it was a really good night overall, though.
So that was our Friday night. How was your Friday night?
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, we're always interested to know. So we have a few people who will actually tell us how their nights go and what they do, and it's kind of awesome to hear what you guys do as well.
And you don't have to go out and do anything elaborate. Sometimes, staying in and the...
Netflix and chilling is awesome. And if you don't have Netflix, that's even awesomer, because all you do is chill. Love it.
A little bit of sensuality goes a long way.
That's right. Yeah. So now we're going to sort of change tones, change flavors. I don't know. This is going to be a Neapolitan podcast tonight.
So now we're going into the mailbag, yes?
Now we're going into the mailbag, yes.
Okay.
So we had been tagged on Twitter by @NaughtyThreesome. And this has been ages ago. Like, it was still this month, but it was weeks ago. So Naughty Threesome, @NaughtyThreesome. Thank you so much for your question. And I love the way this tweet goes. Topic for our favorite podcasters to consider. Now, admittedly, they did tag a lot of other people in this picture, which is a really sexy picture as well. But they listed us, so I'm going to say we're their favorites. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay. Topic for our favorite podcasters to consider. Are rules, open parentheses, no transgression forgiven, likely to cause or prevent fights? So the way I read this is our rules, I like that even better. Our rules where if you break them, it is not forgivable. They're those unforgivable sins, the cardinal sins. Are they more likely to cause or prevent fights? And I think this is a fantastically deep question.
What do you think? What's your answer?
Look, so for me, the first thing I would want to say is, although we might fight, nothing is going to break us up. Like, honestly, you could go out and have unprotected sex with somebody, and that's not going to... that I'm going to be disappointed and upset, and we'll probably argue about it. But it's not going to break us. Mm-hmm. At least that's for me. In fact, I would be apt to forgive you of anything. But like saving over my video game saves, don't do that. That's unforgivable.
Yeah, because mine are way worse.
Yeah, I don't. That's like I would.
You don't want to go back in time.
I don't want to go back in time. Let's just say it right there. No, but like, because I can only think of. Really, for me, there's only one cardinal sin in our relationship, and that's unprotected sex. Everything else, I'm sort of like, that's, we have rules, but that's not like it's not like an end all rule. I'd be like, seriously, you did what? But fighting that, I don't know, like, I don't like, and so I'm trying to think of if you came back, say, from this last Monday night and went, hey, he and I played without protection. I'd be like, whoa, I would have liked to have been there for that, number one, but what made you decide this? Tell me your thought process that got you there, is what I would want to know. But even that, I don't think I would be like, grr.
But would there be a fight about it?
Honestly, and this is going to sound really bad, it depends on how you presented it. if you
That doesn't
presented
sound
it,
bad. No, that's
if you
realistic.
presented it like, well, I didn't do anything wrong, I'd be like, whoa, we have an agreement for something, and I know that we've had conversations with other people who then would think, well, if you got to do it, it's my turn to do it,
Right.
and that's not the way to think about this.
That's not the way to do it.
It's like in this situation, especially sex without condoms, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. Look, God, I use a Kentuckyism. Anyway, but what's good for one is not necessarily good for the other, and I would feel sad and hurt, but at the same time, I don't think I would want to fight about it. I don't know.
So for me, okay, so read it again one more time.
Are rules, no transgression forgiven, likely to cause or prevent fights?
So I see two ways on that, and I think it depends on how strong, I'm going to say, of character or of will you are. If you have a rule, if your rules between you and your partner are set up and you know that if I break these rules, I will not be forgiven. Like, this is a huge, major deal. If I know that, then if I'm cognizant enough and strong enough, then going into any situation, I will be extra careful not to break those rules.
Right.
Because I know that my relationship with my partner is on the line. So in that case, it could prevent fights in the fact that you know that if you do this, there is only one outcome. And that's it. So it could prevent in that regards, but at the same time, it could very much encourage fights because, let's be realistic, somebody's going to break a rule somewhere, somehow,
Absolutely.
sometime.
Well, we've already podcasted about it.
We're not perfect beings.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It may be a one-off. It may be that it's time to reevaluate your rules, as you should do from time to time as a couple. And that time to time is different for everyone. But it may just need to, that rule break may need to spur a conversation. Or maybe you were just being an asshole and you just broke a rule because you weren't paying attention. Whatever the case may be, it could then spur on a fight. Or at least a discussion. I think fight is a harsh word.
Fight is a harsh word, yeah.
But so let's take it down to discussion. But for a lot of couples, I mean, you and I don't really fight that much, but a lot of couples do. Look at all of our previous relationships.
Right.
I know I fought like cats and dogs with them.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have that same understanding, I don't feel like, that you and I do. And so I can see where it would cause fights in the fact that, somebody's going to break a rule at some point. And if that's a hard and fast limit and unforgivable, well, I can see where, there'd be all hell would break loose because of it. Or, like I said, if you're cognizant and can pay attention and are strong-willed enough to say, no, this is a rule, under no circumstances am I going to break this, you're going to prevent fights. But I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah. It's interesting because it is a great question because... And I agree with you completely, ultimately. What I would side with is sort of towards, I've heard it before from other people. I know, Life on the Swing Set has alluded to it, and I know the Joneses allude to it, the Joneses actually say it specifically, where you have boundaries and rules. And boundaries are pushed and rules aren't. Even that, I think, is a little naive in that at some point you need to readdress those. And rules... the rule. The rules are made to be broken. Is an adage for a reason. And
not only that, but if you have boundaries that can be pushed and rules that are hard and fast, at what point do you reevaluate and maybe a rule gets demoted down to a boundary? Well, what prompts that? Is it that you and your partner maybe say every 6 months or every year or every so often you reevaluate your list of rules and boundaries? Or do you only do that when one of them gets pushed or broken?
Yeah.
So something has to be the impetus for reevaluating and saying, are these still appropriate for where we are currently?
And I also think it depends on the number of rules you have. If you're one of those couples, and we've ran across them, where you have 25 different rules of we don't do this, we must do this, we can't do that, we might do this. It's like,
Thank
holy
God
shit.
we're not them, because I can't remember that
Yeah,
much.
no, I'm like, if I have to pull out a rule book and see, let's see, if I do that, there's a flag on the play, so I really can't do. Oh wait, there's a subset. If I kiss her, it's a penalty kick. I don't know.
Is this one of those decision tree diagrams?
It is. It's like a Venn or it's a flow chart
Yeah.
of did you do this? Yes, no. Did you do this? Yes, no. I'm like, oh God, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take the example of we don't kiss.
Yeah.
I think every swinger couple out there has run across the couples where they don't kiss.
Mm-hmm.
You can do everything but kiss. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it. If you're one of those couples, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I know what it is. It's Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman ruined it for all of us because Pretty Woman established this beautiful sex worker who doesn't kiss on the lips unless it's true love. Well, you can kiss on the lips down below, but you can't kiss on the lips under the nose. I guess both lips are under the nose.
Technically, yes.
The lips on the face and the lips between the thighs. Like, one is not more. I'm going to say this blanketly. One is not more intimate than the other. So if you've got rules like that, they're going to get broken.
At some point. Yes.
Somebody's going to accidentally kiss on the lips.
Right.
And then if that's one of the things that causes a fight.
If it's an unforgivable transgression.
If that's an unforgivable transgression, you might want to reevaluate your whole life rule set. And maybe see, maybe this kind of lifestyle isn't for you. If that's unforgivable. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So that's a long-winded, rambling, random-ass, tangent-filled answer to a pretty damn good question.
Yeah. It's a very good question.
I don't feel like we actually answered it, but we answered it for us. And
I
that's what
answered it
matters.
as best as I can, for myself.
Awesome. All right, so
you may or may not agree, but that's okay.
If you disagree with us, it's because you're wrong. Thank you, thirsty turtles.
All right, so the next mailbag question, and there's a lot that this person said about it, and I think there's going to be a lot that probably not you, but I have to say about it as well.
Wow.
So we'll see. So
I feel like I've been already painted into a corner.
I'm not going to read all of their comments yet. We'll get to them.
Okay.
But the basic question is, how do you feel about punitive pricing for single males at clubs?
So I will tell you the first thing that I had to do was look up the word punitive.
I'm trying to think of another way to say it. Penaltative? A penalty price. There we go.
Right, and that's
Because
basically what
we
I
all
looked
know
up.
that at the swingers clubs, either single males are not allowed flat out, or they have to pay a lot more than couples and single females. Because a lot of clubs as well, single females get in for free before a certain time or a drastically reduced price. So basically, if you're looking at pricing, single females are the cheapest, couples are next, and then single males, if allowed, are the
per person,
most.
yes. So typically you have $150 for couples, $100 for men, and $50 for women. Usually. If it's that kind of,
Right.
it's that proportion at
If
least.
guys are allowed, yeah.
Look, this is going to sound horrible. No, it's not. I don't care. I don't see any problem with that at all. The long and short of it is let's say we have 10 guys in a room, or 10 guys who may come to a swingers club. The problem is 3 of those guys are going to be complete asshats, and unfortunately, they ruin it for everyone. And I know that sounds unfair, but if 3 of those guys are going to do it, of the women, if you have 10 women that go to a swingers club, 0.1 of them are going to be asshats and ruin it for everyone. So they're a lot smaller risk. Number one, that's the first issue. That's point number one, is single women are a lot smaller risk than single men. Number two, for every one single woman that wishes to enter a swingers club, there's at least 20 guys. So you got to do something. It's basic economics, supply and demand. You have a small supply of women, so you have to lower the price to get them in. You have a huge demand of men, so you either have to increase the price or cut them off completely. So I don't see anything wrong with that. It's basic economics.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that you might disagree with me.
No, I do very much agree with you.
Because we've also been to those clubs that allow single guys in, and we've seen the quality of guys that makes it through.
Right.
And although one of my favorite experiences I have ever had at a club, Pleasure Lounge, Perth, listen to the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit balls.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
But
Anyway.
again, and this is going to maybe sound a little bad, but that's a bit of a one-off as well, because are you going to expect, like you said, that quality of guy
Oh, God, no.
to be the quality of every guy that comes in?
Man, I don't expect that quality of guy when I meet a guy on Tinder and go out and have a
Yeah,
date with him.
exactly.
I mean, that was one of those diamonds in the rough kind of things.
Yeah. So no, I very much agree with you overall. And the argument against it is, like, just because they're a single guy, does that mean that they're like an unbridled lust machine that can't be allowed in the company of women? But unfortunately, like you said, a few ruin it for the many.
Yeah.
And there are places that don't have punitive pricing. They're few and far between. Very few and far between. But the basic policy is that your behavior determines whether you can stay or not. So whether you're male or female, if you behave badly, you will have to leave.
True, but that puts a lot more pressure on the establishment.
That puts a lot more pressure on the establishment, and if you do behave badly, that can then ruin the time of other people around you.
Yeah.
And if that happens more frequently, and I guess the question is, does it happen more frequently there than any place else? I don't know. How much of an effort are places like that to get to compared to others?
So the perfect example and one that we at some point need to sort of take a small vacation and try out is Wet on Wellington in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So it's a gay sauna that once a month,
I think it's once a month. Maybe,
allows couples. So of course they allow single guys as well. I would love to just see what kind of quality of single guys come in on those nights.
Yeah, no.
And at some point we'll do that.
Yeah, but I do tend to agree with you in that, like you said, and we see it, at the swingers clubs here, and we've seen it when we were traveling in New York as well.
Yeah.
But, again, if single guys are let in, which most don't, but there are very few. If you take like OSS on pick a night, any random night other than ladies' night, but just a random regular night, look at the number of single women that are there. It is either none, one or two, maybe three on a really good night.
On a really good night, it's three, but I can't even.
No, it's usually one, maybe two, if that.
When we host the pendulum party,
yes,
sometimes
we get more singles.
There's more singles, both male and female.
Right. But then again, if, like you said, if you allow single males either at the regular price or the way that you do with the women, in that single males can come in free before a certain time.
Yeah, oh God.
You would be inundated with guys. It would be a sausage
gay
fest.
sausage.
Yeah.
Gay sausage. Sausage, sauna, whatever.
Yeah, it would be so, and that's the, I think
and
that's
it's a gay sauna in which all the guys are paranoid of one another, which is, wow. That was... Suddenly it's the Republican National Convention. Yeah. I mean, it would be horrific.
And for me, I don't think it's the fact that, the guys are all going to attack the women or anything like that. It's just a sheer numbers thing, in that guys are, I don't know how to say this and not have it sound bad, but guys are going to be more willing to go out and do something like that, either by themselves or with other guys, to go into somewhere like that and say, hey, I'm here to have some fun. Whereas I think women are a little more reserved, and they're not going to it takes a different kind of woman to go in and
it either takes
do
a different kind of woman, or woman that needs to be comfortable.
Yes.
And women, I mean...
And if women feel threatened, then that's no different than a bar.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the problem, is that, it comes back to women feeling threatened. It's that whole fucking patriarchal, easy for you to say, heteronormative kind of world in which women are objectified, and you've got these men that come in and say, oh, well, you're a woman, therefore you're less than me, therefore I can...
Or you're a woman at a swingers club, so whether you want me or not,
you're
I'm
clearly here for
going
sex.
yeah.
And that's the thing. Which is the problem, is that women at a swingers club are seen as, oh, well, you're only here to fuck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And it is not, of course, that every guy would be that way. And
but it only takes one or two. And the problem is it's just like every other
Yeah.
situation in which the loud minority speaks.
Right.
And that, unfortunately, that's the case.
Yeah, and so I do tend to agree with you as in the whole supply and demand thing, is that you have to do something to curb that or to kind of temper it a bit. And unfortunately, that's the only really good way consistently to do that.
And look, there are clubs that will let single guys in.
Yes.
And you just have to pay for that privilege to go in. And that you just have to accept it. It is basic economics.
Yeah.
If you're in Sydney...
Hey, but think
club.
about it this way. You pay more to get in, but you also make more on average than a woman does. So you're just paying for that.
Beautiful. Look at you. Breaking the glass sexual ceiling. I love it. No, you're spot on. And so suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah.
Pay your money, pay your dues. But Couples Club in Sydney does have nights where single men are allowed in. I think it's Sunday nights.
I don't remember.
But
it's on the website.
From what I understand, it's kind of rough. Like, I think the single guys are meant to stay outside, and then the owners come out and go, you, and you.
Wow.
So I've talked to a couple of guys that have done it, and I'm like, but I sort of love that as well, where it is a fuck you, it's a meat market, and we're gonna pick the most attractive of you fuckers out here because, again, supply and demand. So if you can't handle rejection, piss off. Part of me wants to do that someday. Just me go as a single, I'm like, hi. Go in my Kinsey 3 or Kinsey 4 shirt. Yeah. No, that's it's a good question, and I understand.
It is, and I understand both sides, and especially as a single guy, I can see where, because we were even talking about it, or not exactly, but we touched on it with our Manticore the other day, and, he was like, because we were talking about going to OSS.
For the glow party.
Right, for the glow party, and he was like, oh, the things you miss out on being a single guy, and I'm like, sure, but there's also a lot of things that you get to do as a single guy.
Yeah.
So,
but
I understand.
I see where he's coming from.
Yeah. So it kind of sucks, sure, but I don't know.
Sometimes it's hard to find a partner who would want to do that as well, and that's
it's not a. I mean, our society is not perfect. There is no perfect answer to that. Really.
I would hate to be single again, knowing now the life that you and I live,
right?
And think. I'd love to have an open relationship kind of life.
Yeah.
How do you find another swinger?
It's hard. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we have another one?
I do, and I feel like we've asked this before, but I'm going to ask it again.
Well, our opinions may have changed.
Our opinions may have changed.
So you never know.
But I liked this question when I saw it come through. And it's, what physical features do you find most attractive in the opposite sex? And then I'm going to add onto it, because it's us, the same sex as well.
Right. So physical features that we find attractive, male and female.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're talking physical, because, for me, the first thing I go to is humor.
Yeah, which ain't physical.
No, that's not physical.
I've been working on my humor muscle.
Yeah.
I have, actually, but anyway.
That's
I've been doing classes. Anyway, go ahead.
So I would say, for me, on a guy, it is 85% the ass. Occasionally, occasionally a guy with really nice abs. And if you have a flat ass, that's okay. I'll take it. But if you have a nice ass,
like a bubble butt, you're a bubble butt kind of gal.
Not too bubbly though. It has to be muscular and strong, something to grab onto. But it can't be like it can't be like Baby Got Back. For a guy, for a girl, yes.
Oh my God, Becky, look at that butt.
Yeah, but I do like just a nice shaped ass and something to grab onto.
So I'm going to call somebody out by name on this podcast now. Have you ever checked out Lawrence's ass?
Yes.
He's got like that.
He's
perfect
got a nice
man
ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like just bubbly enough.
Yeah.
And he always wears those belts, and it's like
it's strong and something to grab onto.
Yeah. It's
well, I imagine I haven't. But
no, but it's lifted high, and it's so. Yeah.
Nice ass, Lawrence.
Nice ass, buddy. You just cringed. It's great.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
So for me, on a guy, it's that. Again, if they have really awesome abs and like a flat ass, okay, fine, we can get beyond that. But I just, like, especially when a guy wears a really nice fitting pair of jeans or pants in general, they're just really kind of show that off and show the curves. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So if I was going to pick, so do you want me to do same sex?
Yeah, let's do
guys
that.
again?
Sure.
Guy for me? Okay. For me, I'm a sucker for a close cropped beard.
Oh, yeah,
Like
you are.
I love like it. I don't want like the full like.
You don't want furry.
Grizzly Adams beard. I want a beard that's like 7 to 10 days in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. I'm a sucker for that. Like
Yeah, you are. Does that go back to your nuzzling thing, though?
it does because I
Yeah.
love the feel
Yeah.
of a beard against my cheek and against my body in general. But looking at that, so if you beard, and then I'm also the eyes. I love like sweet, compassionate, almost like a bit of those droopy dog eyes, like sleepy eyes, kind of. But I don't know, yeah, eyes and beard. That would
Okay.
be for me
All
on
right.
a guy. So on a lady.
I'm trying to pick. You go. Because I've got a bit of a tie.
Easy
but,
peasy.
Yeah.
So my favorite part of a woman, bar every other part, and I don't know that it has a name, but if it does have a name, please tweet us the name. It's the cleft between the bottom of the ass cheek and the top of the leg, top of the back of the thigh. So there's that little
Yeah.
cleft there. So if she's got, I'm an ass man on a woman. So if she's got a nice big ass, and I'm like one of those rapper girlfriends' asses when I'm talking about like I do want baby got back. And she's got a little bit of cleft there. That's my favorite part. I think it's fun to lick that part and nuzzle, and yeah, I'm a sucker. I'm an absolute ass man on a woman.
Is it the ass? Is it the ass itself, or is it just where it meets the top of the thigh?
I like the ass itself, but if I'm going to pick one single part, it's just that cleft between the bottom of the ass and the top of the thigh.
Okay.
That is my absolute favorite part.
Okay.
Because you can have a flat ass and still have a really nice
Right.
cleft. So
Right.
you don't have to have like this big round apple butt. Mm-hmm. You can have a flat ass, but still it's a nice little cleft there to the top of your thigh. That's,
Okay.
yeah.
And so for me, if I have to pick one, and I'll tell you my close second as well, you could probably guess it. But my favorite, I'm going to do a little bit the opposite of you, and I like the top where the back meets the ass.
Interesting.
So that the small of your back
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So if you have like that nice curve at the small of your back, which again generally lends to a rounder ass, and again something you can grab onto, something maybe that's just it. I just like
You just
something-
like hold on to
yeah,
things.
maybe. So I like that. I like a nice round ass because then you get that nice, but it can't be too severe. It can't be like an L shape or
Like a
something.
Lego
yeah.
ass.
Right. But I like that nice soft curve down a woman's back and then out into the ass, the small of the back there where, that just really gets me. I really like that. Yeah.
And what's your close second?
My close second is, and this is not one that you're going to see like initially right off, but nipples. Because I love breasts, but I
Yeah.
really like a woman's nipples, and I like to just lick them and roll them
What
around.
kind of nipples do you prefer?
Honestly, anything that is easily lickable, kissable, and suckable.
Well, you just described every breast
Not
out there.
necessarily.
Describe to me a breast which isn't lickable.
Some nipples are innies, and that's a lot harder to deal
okay,
with.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you can
So
do
does
it.
it matter
you can
the
do
size
it.
of the areola?
No, to me that doesn't matter.
How about the size of the nipple itself?
Not necessarily. It's a little more challenging if they're small.
Yeah.
Bigger nipples are a little. They're more fun to kind of roll my tongue
Yeah.
around.
Well,
but
because you've got large nipples.
Yeah.
And I remember when we first started dating, you had commented that you didn't like them about yourself.
I was self-conscious about them.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like them on me. I'm just self-conscious because you look at most women online and
they're
in
like,
porn, and they
they're
have
like-
little tiny nipples.
like
and,
even smaller than pea shape, like
Yeah.
lentil-sized nipples.
Right.
But yours are, I would say, closer to. God, I'm going to use the beans since we already started the lentil thing. Yours are closer to garbanzo beans, and I love that. Like to me, that
Yeah.
your nipples are perfect
I
nipples.
think larger nipples are easier, like I said, to kind of roll your tongue around and kind of play with
Yeah.
and suckle on.
And that's-
But small ones can be just as fun as well.
I
Inverted is harder,
Yeah.
but it can happen.
Yeah,
So,
your
yeah.
your nipples are, for me, perfect because I prefer a smaller areola and a bigger nipple, which is really kind of hard to find. And I sort of found it in you, and I never even, when I'd already liked you, I'd have never even seen your nipples.
Yeah, and again, that's not fair because that's not something you're going to see on someone right off.
Yeah, so we should start asking people, hey, what's your nipples look
Yeah.
like? Hey, how you going? How's your nipples? I think we have time for one more question.
Okay.
Go.
Let's see. Ooh, how old were you when you had your first kiss and your first boyfriend or girlfriend?
I had my first boyfriend or girlfriend. I was 6.
Did you kiss him then?
My girlfriend. No, I was 8 when I had my first kiss.
Okay.
Is that right? 6? No, 7. I was 7 with my first kiss. And that was a very chaste, little bit of tongue kiss. My first true passionate tongue kiss was I was probably in 7th grade. So I was probably 13,
Okay.
12, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah, had no idea what I was doing. I think I probably licked half her face. It was great. Wasn't great.
What about your first boyfriend or girlfriend?
Well, that was my first girlfriend. I was 6.
Okay.
My first boyfriend, the first person I considered my boyfriend I was 30?
Okay.
31?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My first boy
So,
kiss
well, I would
was
say
18.
boyfriend or girlfriend, and who did you date first?
Yeah.
The first person you dated, kind of thing. So you
Yeah,
were 6.
yeah.
So for me, I was a
But dated, sorry.
Dating. I would say dating.
So dating, you don't date at 6. You're passing notes to somebody and say, do you like me? Check yes or no.
Right.
Or do you want to be my girlfriend? Check yes or no. I mean, that's not
Okay,
dating.
so what about dating? Let's go
true
dating.
dating, it was back to that first major kiss. So probably 7th, 8th grade.
Okay.
Where, that was the person I was talking to on the phone at night.
Right.
And that was the person that, at school we would hold hands and, occasionally you'd go to the movies and make out a little.
Right.
So
That's what I think this person
first
meant by
dating.
that.
Okay. I thought you meant like
No,
first
the way-
boyfriend or girlfriend.
Well,
that was
yeah, I think
do you
that
like me? Check yes or no.
I took it as dating, like the
Okay.
first person you dated.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we were moving on to sex, I was 21. Let's not
Okay.
even talk about that. That was depressing. I wore 2 condoms first time I had sex.
Really?
Yeah.
Double protection.
I was so paranoid about.
It's another kind of DP.
I was so paranoid about procreation. Ugh. Sorry.
That's awesome.
That's a different podcast. And you?
Safety first and second.
I know, right? And we laid a layer of saran wrap in between the two of us. So, just
And was she on birth control as well?
And she was on birth control as well. And 3 days later, she took a pregnancy test.
That's fantastic.
3 days.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we knew how it worked in fucking college. Anyway, go ahead. Now, see, this is side note. Teach your children
Sex education's important.
Proper sex education. Growing up in Kentucky, we didn't have sex education.
You have abstinence, and that's not going to help
God.
you learn anything.
Anyway, please go ahead.
So for me, I was very much a late bloomer compared to you. I didn't have my first kiss until I was 11.
Aw.
And the first person I dated, I was 15. And we went out on, I don't know, a handful of dates and things. And then I broke up with him. And I remember talking to my mom about it when I came home at some point, and she was like, oh, so how are things going about, with this person and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh yeah, I told him I didn't want to see him anymore. And she was like, she kind of looked at me, she's like, why not? He's such a cute little boy. And I was like, exactly, he's a cute little boy. I want a man.
Oh, snap. God.
Because, and that's funny because I was 15, so really, what am I thinking?
That's awesome.
But most of my friends were always older than me.
Yeah.
And so I was always looking at older guys. I'm talking like a year or two.
Yeah.
I was always the youngest one in my group of friends. They were usually about 2 years older than me. And this person happened to be the same age as me. And I don't know, to me, I thought that was young. And he had that little boy look to him, like a boy haircut, not like a man's haircut. I don't know. It's just funny because I look back on that now and I'm like, what was I thinking? He wasn't any different than I was. But yeah.
That's
So that
awesome.
that first relationship didn't last very long.
And you still like the older men. I mean, I'm only a year and a half older, but, I'm still older.
I've always tended to go for older guys.
That's awesome.
The young ones are fun to play with, but not for a long-term relationship for me.
That's great. I love it. And girls?
Have
you ever had a girlfriend?
Not like a dating girlfriend, no. No.
And your first girl kiss?
That was... I have to go grades to age now. I would have been... So sixth grade is 11, 12?
About, yeah.
Yeah, so about that age. It's probably 12.
Whoa, was that like a full tongue kiss?
Well, yeah. I consider that a kiss, yeah.
Yeah. Kiss. Wow.
Like, with the boy, it was the same thing. Yeah.
Wow, you started early.
Because I don't consider... I mean, sure, it's a kiss, but it's not a...
That was my sixth grade... My 6-year-old, 7-year-old.
Yeah, because when you're asking about a first kiss, I mean like a meaningful kiss.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was 11 or 12 as well.
Okay.
So we've still got more questions, but we're out of time.
We'll do another mailbag episode
So
soon.
we'll do another mailbag episode in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
So
if there's anything you want to hear or know about, send it to us.
Yeah, send us a message.
Yeah.
If you wish... You can email us at theatomsoflove@gmail.com. You can send us a direct message on the Twitterverse. We are at By the By Podcast. Or Facebook's www.facebook.com/bythebybpodcast. I'm going to soon, if it's not already up now, it will be up soon, a questions spot on our website.
Yeah.
So that you can direct question us through there, because I think that's a great idea, and I just came up with it not too long ago, like last week. Anyway, send us a message, and we'd love to hear from you. I feel like I am forgetting something. Duh. August 25th.
What's happening then?
What's up? We're having our third. That was a long way to say third.
Easy for you to say.
We're having our third pendulum party at our secret spot.
Yes.
Gonna be awesome. Glory holes. Lots. Last time I was in the middle of an MMF.
Mm-hmm. And there were 3 of us behind the glory hole, so you never knew what you were going to get.
Which was epic. If you haven't heard that podcast, it's a funny one. Yeah, it was 2 ladies and me in the glory hole, and when we weren't going down on somebody, we were making out with each other, which is even better. So that was a lot of fun. So the tickets are on sale, I'm assuming now. There'll
be a link on Twitter, on Facebook.
Yep, Twitter, Facebook.
Our secret spot.
www.oursecretspot.com.
.au.
I always forget that part. So come to our pendulum party. We'd love to see you.
Absolutely.
At least parts of you through the glory hole. Anyway. All right. We'll talk to y'all next time.